Good morning, day 72 of the 75-day challenge. So just a few little updates for you guys today. As many of you already know out there, the stimulus check payments have started going out. A lot of people started receiving them as of yesterday, and it'll continue to trickle on throughout this week and next week as well. And I think from some of the reports that I read today, obviously shopping is up. That tells you something about us American people. And with that, I think that we're definitely going to see a bump in sales this weekend for Turo as well. So it should fare out to be a pretty good weekend. I'm already starting to see reservations come in for the weekend. And also, like I mentioned, my prices have come back up. They're back to sort of their average prices. So I'm not on the low side anymore. And I'm seeing that people are paying full price. They're adding on trip extras, which is a good sign. So while that may be temporary, it is happening, which is really nice. So you want to make sure that you are priced out accordingly. Also with that, I think, at least I can speak for here in this area in Southern California, there's a few other things that are kind of fueling that. Last couple of days, it's been just perfect weather out here. It feels like just perfect sort of summer days, and you can tell that people are kind of feeling a little restless. Yesterday I noticed in my own neighborhood, people were sitting in front of their front doors. They had their shirts off. They're sitting on their beach chairs with their laptops, and they're tanning and working from home simultaneously all throughout the day, which was pretty funny to see, but it kind of became a trend in the neighborhood. So you just saw a bunch of people doing that. So they're still maintaining all the social distancing protocols, but you can see that people are sort of craving to like get out and get some sunshine and get that vitamin D, which is also so important for your health. And I think, with that little boost in vitamin D that people, at least in this area, are getting, spirits seem to be kind of up, and people, I think, want to get out. Yesterday was the first day. It was so odd. I was on the 5 freeway and the 405 as well, which are two major freeways here, and there was traffic. I couldn't believe that there was traffic. That's the first time I've seen traffic in over a month. And then the odd thing was, I don't know where people are going because there is literally nowhere to go. No businesses have really opened back up over here. The grocery stores don't really seem any busier than normal. So I don't know if people are just out for a drive because they're tired of being at home, but there was traffic on the freeways, which was so weird. So yeah, I wonder where people are going, but I think hopefully this weekend should fare out pretty well. And as always, on Saturday mornings, I do share what my weekend bookings look like and how sort of the week fared out for me. I share usually a screenshot on Instagram as well as my community wall here on YouTube. So you definitely want to check out my Turo Instagram, which is at Saimah's Experience. You can message me on there as well, or here on the community wall on YouTube. But other than that, that's pretty much it in terms of my thoughts for this morning. Kind of just prepping for this weekend, making sure that my listings look right. Really want to capture any of those bookings that might be going on out there. And like I mentioned, I'm already starting to see a pattern of bookings coming in for this weekend at full price, which is really nice. It's really nice to see that after about a month of just kind of being in such a slump. So that's looking good. Other than that, that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later, and as always, send me your questions and comments, and I will chat with you guys in the comment section. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Stay healthy, stay safe, take care of yourselves, get some vitamin D if you can. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Fun fact, my next door neighbor's kid has been whistling for the last hour. I don't know how it's humanly possible for somebody to whistle for that long, and it's like he's like whistling a song or something, and I can hear him in my house, and I'm really testing my patience. Work from home issues. Okay, so day 72, reading of the Wealthy Gardener. These are the 10 seeds of wealth. The first one was think wealth. The second one was frugality. The third one was profitability. And today, a very important one, which I think really, really translates over to the times that we're going through right now, is called get out of debt, which so many people can relate to. So let's get into it. And this is chapter 5, lesson 4, the fourth seed to wealth. Get out of debt. Interest on debts grow without rain. Yiddish proverb. If you ever want freedom, said the wealthy gardener, you must break free of debt. It is the slave master in a free society, the obligator of drudgery. Debt robs the future of time and money. It chains the workers to the wages. Slavery is a pretty strong comparison, Jimmy countered. What would you call working for nothing but food, shelter, clothing, and debt obligations? Asked the wealthy gardener, shaking his head. It is surely a form of slavery. Where is the hope for a better condition in such a life? The hope lies in earning more, Jimmy said, to pay down the debt. You speak the truth, smiled the wealthy gardener. Debt is so easy to fall into, but so difficult to climb out of. Debtors come to realize that their futures have been sold to the creditors, and they are trapped. Their lifestyle may appear okay, but the interest payments devour their profits. When monthly wages are consumed by debt payments, the soul always grows weary. I'd rather die than exist like that, Jimmy said. I would work 3 jobs as long as it took. There is no way I would allow debt to control me for life. The wealthy gardener smiled, leaned forward, picked up a clump of papers from the coffee table, and handed them to Jimmy. It was a business loan for $585,000 at a 6% interest rate with a 20-year amortization schedule. Welcome to debt, chuckled the wealthy gardener. I now own you. Jimmy thumbed through the paperwork. This was a loan he would use to buy a large property management business. So the monthly payment is $4,191, he said. I can handle that much and still earn my own profits. Yes, and we have reviewed the numbers. Any debt that earns a profit is good debt. But tell me, are you aware of the amount of this loan? Jimmy looked surprised at the dumb question. $585,000? That's not even close, said the wealthy gardener. You are obligating yourself to pay $1,005,869. I don't know why that number was so hard to say. With interest over 20 years. That's your real cost. It's short-sighted to only consider the monthly payments. Well, it seems to me the business will be paying it, not me. I agree that the interest matters less when it's paid by profits, said the wealthy gardener, but too many people take on personal debt based solely on monthly payments. It is an especially dangerous practice in the purchase of an education, a home, a vehicle, and even furniture. The payment system is a devil in disguise, but if it's affordable, what's affordable today may not be affordable tomorrow. Who has the wisdom to know the conditions of the future? Can you be sure of a steady income, good health, and prosperous times? Debtors are the most harmed in an economic downturn. To free yourself of worries, free yourself of debt. How crazy how that relates to exactly what's going on right now during this pandemic. Okay, but everyone needs a home and a car. Just keep your mortgage under twice your annual realized income, the wealthy gardener advised. As for cars, you don't need one over $30,000. Jimmy silently calculated his townhouse's mortgage, concluding that he was within his general formula. But then his expression changed. What will happen to this loan, he asked delicately, when you pass? I drew up this loan as an education about the debt process, the wealthy gardener said. But when this lender dies, the debt will be forgiven. You will have a great start at a very young age. How will it change your life? Jimmy shrugged. I'll have an additional $4,191 to save every month. You are doing it right if the world can't see your progress. Every time you pay off a debt, said the wealthy gardener, you have that much more to pay off other debts, and in the end to eventually save towards your wealth. Debt is an obligation to pay or repay a state of owning. It has been theorized that the only reason a great many American families don't own an elephant is because they've never been offered an elephant for $1 down and a number of low monthly payments. Earl Wilson observed, today there are 3 kinds of people, the haves, the have-nots, and the have-not paid for what they have. There is no worse enemy for our profitability than debt. And without profits, there is nothing to save and no hope for the wealth. Debt robs the future to pay for the wants of today.
Debt is worse than poverty, said Thomas Fuller. A man in debt is so far a slave, wrote Emerson. The greatest enemy of financial well-being is not poverty but debt, said Kent Nerburn. It is the debtor that is ruined in a hard time, said Rutherford B. Hayes. Get out of debt and get out of danger. The way to gain freedom is by temporarily giving up all freedom. Use each day's waking hours to pay the price of debt reduction. An extra job can yield a realized income of $1,000 a month to pay down the principal. Pay off debts in order of their size. It may be financially wise to start paying off those debts with the highest interest rates, but it is psychologically wise to attack the smallest debts first and gain a few wins. Get the small wins, and each paid debt will increase your free cash to pay off remaining debts. Debtors suffer the pain of sacrifice or the pain of slavery. Debt is a cruel master who accrues interest while we sleep. Dave Ramsey summed up the life of a debtor. I owe, so off to work I go. Work off the loans. Getting out and staying out of debt is key, advises Ann Wilson. Debt is the biggest barrier, a parasite to wealth, and thereby it enslaves. The life lesson, get out of debt. I realize that debt enslaved me to duty, but a life without debt has a life without chains. Whew. Really good chapter, and I think one that a lot of us can definitely relate to. I think especially here living in America, debt is just so common, and to buy off of credit, it's almost a part of the American lifestyle for so many people, for the great majority of people. So it becomes very normal, and you know that your neighbors are like that, your friends are like that, your family is like that. But this is a great reminder of how the wealthy get wealthier, is because they are not a slave to debt. And just really, I like the strategy of paying off your small debts first, because psychologically it makes you feel like you're making a difference. Whereas if you go and attack a large debt, you're chipping away at it so slowly that you could lose that momentum and that motivation and feel like, oh, it's not really making a difference anyway. So you kind of lose that encouragement to continue doing that. So that's something that I will definitely be taking into consideration. And that was actually one of the things that I thought about a lot for 2020, was I wanted to make sure that I got out of any debt that I have. And that's something that I'll be working really steadily on and shifting my focus over to as well. And on that note, that is chapter 5, lesson 5 of The Wealthy Gardener by John Safaric. And a link to this book is down in the description below. And again, I will be going over the 10 seeds of wealth this whole week, and that was get out of debt, a really important one, which I think especially right now during a time of crisis can be really difficult to think about, especially for people who might have been laid off, or your hours got cut, or your income is not what it used to be. And I personally am in that position as well. My income is not what it was. So it could be hard to think about that, but you should be proactive and you should think about that. And in fact, I think that when you do begin to think about stuff like that, it's like you're kind of taking on this great big challenge. It actually pushes your mind further and helps you kind of get creative, right? If you just kind of stay stuck and think about, oh, how can I pay for my expenses, or like my living costs, like the stuff that's essential, then you only think within such a short span. But if you kind of take on even more than that and say, okay, no, I don't want to just pay for my expenses and just pay for my rent or my mortgage. I also want to pay off my debt, and I also want to save X amount of money per month. Then you start thinking big, and you start thinking about what else you can do and what the other possibilities are and what more you can put your time towards that will help you earn more income so that you can do those things. So I think it'll really expand your thinking if you take that on as well. And there's no time better than now to really start thinking about it. So yeah, that's my take on that. All right, you guys, stay healthy, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye guys.